Yes. And one more question. I'm the only one that got charged with narcotics?
Yes. All right, as to your...
If you had seen who shot you, would you have told police?
No,
Why?
because the type of business I'm in, it would definitely hurt my business. And the way that I was raised, I just don't do that. I was raised differently not to tell.
I know it was you, Fredo. You broke my heart. You broke my heart.
So you wouldn't tell him I need a police emergency?
Come on, Anton. Come on now.
No, bro, no.
You say you from the hood now.
No.
But y'all want me to turn out to be a snitch?
I saw a video that I had to share with you guys. We're going to be talking about snitching today, snitching in the Black community. I know it happens in all communities, but we're talking about the Black community today. And I have a question for you guys at the end. I have a question at the beginning and I have one for the end. Would you snitch to save someone's life? If you knew someone was going to get hemmed up, get hurt, unalived, would you snitch? Would you tell them? Would you go to the authorities? Would you tell them? Oh, let's talk about it today. Man to man is so unjust. Children, you don't know who to trust. Your worst enemy could be your best friend. And your best friend, your worst enemy. So I love that song by Bob Marley. I'm sure a lot of my Caribbean people know that song very well, the legend Bob Marley. And that song, Who the Cap Fit, that talks about betrayal. And it's also a cautionary tale, a warning, so to speak, that sometimes some of the people in your life who you think have your back, who are your friends, who are your family members, who love you, who's supposed to support you, you think that those are the ones who would not betray you. But those are the very people who end up betraying you because they know so much about you. They know your life. They know your moves, right? And the people who you think are your enemies sometimes turn out to be your best friend. They turn out to be the ones that help save you from something. Which brings me to today's topic, snitching. So I came across this video recently that got my mind percolating, and I wanted to share this video with you. I'm sure if many of you watch YouTube, you've probably seen it, or you've seen it just share it on WhatsApp or whatever. But it's a video by Anton Daniels. And the video was so interesting. I saw it on a YouTube short that I thought I would share it with my audience so we can have a discussion about this. I wanted to have this conversation because one of the things I often hear from the Black community is we want a safer community. We want a community where our kids can thrive, where we don't have to worry about being SHOT when we go outside, that sort of thing. And I just started to think about why we have this, we're so on code with this snitch culture, right? In the sense that we don't believe in accountability to the point where we will remain silent when we know somebody is an assailant, someone has hurt somebody. Okay, so let's just jump right in because it's a quick video and I want you all to hear it.
Me and you together, dude run up on us, carjack us or something like that, I get shot, but I'm still alive. You calling the police or no?
I'm not going to want to call the police if I'm shooting. They going to ask you need a police emergency or a fire truck.
So you wouldn't tell them I need a police emergency?
Come on, Anton. Come on now.
No, bro, no.
You say you from the hood now.
No.
But y'all want me to turn out to be a snitch? Oh, come on, Anton.
Nope. Listen, I love y'all, but I have to make myself a priority because y'all don't love me the same way that I love y'all. And if my life is on the line, I need you to call the police and you unwilling to do it because you keeping it too real for me. I got a wife, I got a daughter, and I don't need nobody hesitating over me. People will sit there and say, no, Anton, you got to continue to be for the Black community. Man, that.
Y'all asking me to be a snitch? Y'all want me to be formed to a snitch?
I'm asking you to save my life.
Woo! That last line right there. Hold up.
Y'all asking me to be a snitch? Y'all want me to be formed to a snitch?
I'm asking you to save my life.
That last line right there. I'm asking you to save my life. I watched this video. It's very short, right? It's just a short little clip, and I'm sure it's a part of a much larger conversation, but that's the clip that I am reacting to today, right? Because I don't know who the gentleman is, who he is interviewing, but it just kind of blows my mind, the thinking, right? because if we're riding together, like this is what Anton is saying, you know, I guess they're supposed to be friends. And he says, if he gets hit, like, are you going to call the cops? You're going to call, you know, ambulance? You're going to call the authorities to help me? And he was like, no, because he's trying to stay on code. And it's like, who are you staying on code for? So a lot of times you hear in the community, you know, snitches get stitches. And it's just like a warning to anyone who's thinking about talking or going to the police, that there is some danger on the other side, or there are repercussions, physical harm repercussions for you if you open your mouth to the authorities. And it's just insane that to think that I could be riding with someone, I could be a friend of someone. I don't know the circumstances, right? I don't know if they ride, and y'all know what riding mean, if they about to pull up on somebody or roll up on somebody. But I just don't get how you could be with someone, you see them get hit, they get hurt, and you don't even think to like call the authorities. You would watch your partner die, like your friend die, your family member die, just so you don't get this label of being a snitch. It's just the craziest thing to me. And I just started to really question like where this whole culture of not snitching came from. And it's not something that it's exclusive to the Black community. We hear all the time, like, for example, if you watch like the movies, especially like mob movies, they talk about rats. You can't be a rat, right? If you're in this game, right? If you're in this game, I suppose, of selling narcotics, or you're just in a sort of like an underclass lifestyle, you're in some sort of bad lifestyle, then I guess there are some street codes that you have to adhere to. I'm not even interested in this lifestyle, so I don't want to have to adhere to any of this code or any of this stuff, so I'm not even interested in that sort of lifestyle, right? But I think the thing that really, really bothers me is when it spills over to people who are not in this lifestyle, right? So you witness something happening in your community. You have to live in this community. You're seeing people doing wrong inside of your community, and you are determined to say absolutely nothing. I've watched so many reports of children being unalived inside of their communities, inside their neighborhoods. Innocent kids who are either walking home from school, or they were home doing homework, or whatever. You always see these little shrines in the inner city communities of kids who have been unalived by some assailant, right? And it's like, do I think for one second that there aren't people who know who committed these crimes? Of course not. Everybody who is tied to that knows who did what, but they will not say anything because they don't want to be perceived as a snitch. And a lot of these folks aren't even in gangs. It's just like they're adhering to this code for what reason, I don't even know. Why are you adhering to a code, a gang code, when you're not even a part of a gang? Now, let me just talk a little bit about why I think some people do it. I think that there are some Black folks who have a general distrust of police officers, of authorities. They don't trust them one bit. They feel like whatever they say can go back to whomever they're pimping on, whoever they're snitching on, right? So that's not the first person that they're going to call, even if they know something. So there's the distrust factor there. Also, where if somebody came forth to say that they saw something and they're willing to go to court, those people might not even make it to court, right? And so for a lot of people who are here, they're not going, because they don't have a trust of the police officers, they're not going to go to them. And then they're fearful of retribution. They're fearful of retaliation, that if that person knows that they were the person who snitched on them or whatever, that of course there are repercussions. Their families could be affected, especially if they have kids involved or older people involved. It's not just them. Their whole family can be hurt by it. But I just don't, and while I understand those things, it's just so tough for me to reconcile knowing that someone has hurt another person and just being quiet about it, right? Or knowing that something is about to go down and you don't say anything. Like you can report things anonymously, right? You can report things anonymously. A lot of times people want credible tips, and sometimes you have to go in court, and I can understand why people don't want to do that because there's a fear factor. But I just don't get why we're adhering to these sort of gang codes about not snitching, and we think that that's just like so funny. Like the way people talk about it is like, oh yeah, oh he is snitch, and for what?
No snitching. What about, I can't let you come in my neighborhood and run it down, bro. Nah, you can't sell that shit. These kids over here overdosing. Bro, you stand across the street selling Percocet pills across the street from the middle school, dog. Your trap set up right here. Why you ain't standing on that?
Do you know how many black men are sitting in jail right now because they refuse to snitch on somebody? I remember when Lil' Kim, the rapper Lil' Kim, went to jail. And I mean, it's like the culture was so proud of her for not saying anything. They were so happy that, like, Kim, a real one. She a real one. She kept her mouth closed. It's like, but you went to jail. You know what I mean? You went to jail. You had to serve some time. Like, and this is something to be proud of, that she stayed on code, but she went to jail. Like, it's just crazy. And then if you're somebody who has a family, you'd rather keep your mouth pinned up. You'd rather be quiet about this thing rather than just speaking your piece. And I look at it the other way. I look at us remaining silent as saying that we condone what happens in our communities. We condone the violence. And there are some people who don't believe in going to the police officers. They don't believe in going to authorities to get justice. They believe in street justice. And so then you have this cycle of violence that just continues endlessly because someone's going to get this one back for doing this and this person's going to get that person back, and it just never ever stops. And I'm not saying that going to the authorities immediately works, but what I'm saying is if you create an environment and a culture of accountability where people know, hey, listen, I can't hide in this neighborhood. I can't hide here because people are always watching and people are always talking. I feel like it would make a dent in crime in some way, shape, or form. But watching this video, it's very, very quick. And I'm so happy with what Anton said. You just can't roll with everybody. And that's why you really have to be very careful about the company you keep. And it's not always easy because, like I said in the beginning, and you never know who is the person who's going to betray you. The person who knows all your secrets, they know how you move, they know when you move, they know what time you get off from work. Sometimes those people can be the very ones who set you right up for the kill, and it's just so sad. I'm not going to ask any of you if you've ever snitched on anyone, but what I will say is, if given the opportunity to tell someone or to warn someone about some impending doom, some impending disaster, something, would you say something? Would you warn them? Would you tell them if it's your friend? Would you tell them? Or would you just be like, nah, I'm not getting involved? And if you say you're not going to get involved, why? Why wouldn't you get involved? Tell me. Let's talk down below. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.